All right, guys, did you have any questions about Friday's webinar? You know, any of the stuff that I was covering about following people on Instagram, unfollowing people, the design portion of it, where we designed our Instagram so that it could be, you know, really effective so that people want to follow us. Let's see. Maxpo, when is a good time to add paid Instagram marketing to that method? So I don't ever recommend paid advertising unless you have a process, okay? And this is really a lot more advanced, and I would have to do a whole webinar on this alone. I'm gonna cover part of it today. I'm gonna cover part of what you need to have in line before you run ads. A lot of you guys like skip to this, like, I should run ads. And a lot of you guys have asked me, hey, I'm running ads. What kind of ads should I run? Most of you should not run ads at all. You're not ready for it. And it's not that your music isn't great. And it's not that you're not talented. It's that the business structure that you have is not set up yet. So it's kind of like, let's say you wanted to have a restaurant, right? I always use this as an example. Let me do this really quick. Sorry. Let's say you wanted to open a restaurant and all you had done were the plates, right? You didn't have tables yet, but you're like, I'm going to run advertising to my restaurant because I have great food. You know, well, it's still going to fall apart because you don't have the tables set up. You don't have the wait staff. You don't have, you know, the billboards and the, you know, just you don't have all those other things in place. That's why it's really the whole paid ads thing. How the big question to ask yourself, and this is what I'm going to cover today, is how do you plan on getting your money back? Think about that. If you're running hundreds or thousands of dollars into your campaign, it's not a business unless you're making money. So if all you're doing is trying to get plays, we all know, right, that plays on YouTube, plays on Spotify only pay a quarter of a penny, right? And it's going to cost us, let's say, I forget how much it costs. Let's say $250 to get, I don't know, let's say it costs $250 to get 5,000 listens. Well, those 5,000 listens are only going to pay us like a quarter. I don't know the exact amount, but it's nothing, right? So we're losing money. And it is expensive. Yes, Alex, it depends. It depends on what kind of ads you're running. So Alex is asking, is it expensive to run ads? It depends. There's types of ads that you can run for listens. Like, let's say you just want people to watch your YouTube music video. That's not expensive, but why? Why do you want those plays on your YouTube? If people are just coming to look at your YouTube, are you hoping that they then what? Buy something from you? That they like a lot of this, and there's a big term for this. It's called vanity metrics. There's a lot of people, and Friday, I showed you guys how to get followers, but what do you do with those followers, right? If we're spending lots of money on YouTube ads or trying to get people to our Spotify, you know, there's Spotify ads or those types of things, what's the point? And that's where you need to start thinking of it as a business, because this is the part that most musicians miss. And this is why most musicians aren't profitable. Okay, so Sakura said you need their email address at least. Yes, that is the first thing that you need, absolutely. But then what? Even if you get their email, then what? Are you just going to try to sell them your music? Because I'll tell you this, if you're running email ad campaigns, right? On Facebook, you can run a campaign where you say, you know, let's say, you know, Friday we talked about running ads towards, you know, artists. I mean, we talked about following other artists that are like us, right? And getting their fans. We've talked about like fan hacking, like we can steal their fans. So like my music right now, it's Latin music. So I might go and, you know, start following and commenting and that sort of thing on Jennifer Lopez's fans, because I know they're probably going to like my stuff, right? You can do that with ads as well. So you can run an ad and you can show your music video to people, you know, like for myself, it would be, I could run an ad and show my music towards people like Jennifer Lopez, right? People who like Jennifer Lopez or people that like Shakira or that sort of thing. And then the first step, just like you said, Sakura, is I can ask for their email. So I can run an ad that says, hey, I'm going to give my song away for free. Here's my music video. Oops, let me mute you guys, sorry. you know, so I can say, I'm going to give you my song away for free, you know, join my list. Like I can run an ad like that. That's a really great type of ad to run, right? Because you're getting their email. You're not just getting views, hoping that somebody somehow buys something from you, right? So that's a really good strategy. But then what? And that's where we talked about, you know, we've talked about doing emails, and we've talked about our email campaigns, and I'll get into all of that. But today what I want to talk about is, so Connor says, set up online stores and touch points for your merchandise and other things. That's a start. It is a start, right? It's you thinking about all the forms of income that you can create, because most people don't even have a store. Most people just have their music on iTunes, right? Are a lot of you guys kind of guilty of that? Can you put guilty in the chat box if most of you guys just have your music on like iTunes and Spotify, and you're like, why aren't I making any money? Right? Okay, Ford says guilty. Arnaud says guilty. Phantomello has shirts. I did see that now. Asian says just Facebook. Sakura says you can create a store, but you haven't yet. Yep. Connor says you're on it. Yep. So I'm having like a lot of people. Yep. Guilty. Right. So what you got to think about is, let's imagine you started running ads right now, right? It's going to cost you way more money to have people to come in and look at your videos. And then what are they going to buy from you? At the most, they're just going to go to your Spotify, where you make a fraction of a penny. So is that sustainable? It's not. It's not sustainable, because you have no way of even making money. You know, it's like, let's say you opened a restaurant and people couldn't even come inside, right? But you like, maybe you know, sold something that costs a fraction of a penny outside of the restaurant, right? So you're spending thousands of dollars on advertising, and the only thing that they can buy is something that costs a fraction of a penny. That's basically what you're doing when you're running ads and hoping that people go stream your music, and you're say, hey, go buy my music on iTunes, and even that, the majority of people will not, unless you've created a relationship with them, which we've talked about the ways to create a relationship. But what I want you to think about today, and this is a big one, is think about all the forms of income that you can create, because this is our business, right? We're in the music business, and this is where this is the planning stage that almost every musician I've ever talked to has never even thought about. And that's where we start thinking, apart from streaming and music, our actual, you know, just Spotify platforms, how else do we make money? So, and this is what I want to get into today. So that's what we're going to cover. So I want you guys, you can take notes and all that sort of thing, and brainstorm with me in the chat box ways that you can do it. Because even the things that I'm about to tell you, there's lots of other ways that you can do it. So when I first started doing music, I sold my music on the streets. I've talked to you guys a lot about that. If you've never heard that story, I used to sell my music going door to door. So that's one way, right? Which I'm sure most of you guys will never want to do that. And I hated it. So it's not fun. So, you know, unless you really want to get out there. But I did. I went out there and I sold my music out there, right? So I sold my actual CDs person to person. I rented booths inside of fairs and festivals. You know, I posted a story the other day. You know, I would literally, you know, in the commercial buildings, you know, when you go to like the state fair, I would be in there, and as people walked by, I would stop every single person and try to get them to buy a CD. So that's one way, right? But merchandise can be sold in different ways, right? So one of the gentlemen here, I think it was Phantomello, you created your shirts. That's an awesome place to start, right? Merchandise is a good place to start. You can get those, and I've talked to you guys about that last week on, I'm trying to remember which one it was. Hold on one second. It's, you can do it on, and I'll write it in the chat box here for you guys. So Printful.com, oops, it didn't send out to all you guys. Hold on one second. And we went over this last week, but I'm going to cover a lot of things today. Printful.com, you can make your own shirts, right? You can, you don't have to order the shirts. You don't have to put any type of money investment. You can create the design. And there's these websites when you, let's say you send a fan to your store and they order a shirt, these companies will make the shirt for you and then ship it out. So you're not having to deal with shipping. You're not having to order hundreds of shirts and then have them all sitting in your closet waiting for them to sell. Because I did that. I went on tour and I bought like hundreds and hundreds of shirts, and I sold a bunch of them, but I didn't sell a bunch of them. And I still have a box. I still have a box of shirts from that specific tour that I need to figure out how to get rid of, right? I'll probably make some sort of package and give it away for, you know, really inexpensive or something. But you don't want to do that. And a lot of musicians don't have like $1,000 to go spend on shirts, right? So something like Printful, Bella, I wrote it down. I'll put it in the chat again. This is my favorite one. Okay, Printful.com. And yes, Amara, they did. I did check that out. So Bandzoogle, which is one of my favorite websites to use because it's designed specifically for musicians, now integrates, I think they integrate with Printful. But Amara, you're saying that Bandzoogle has their own print on demand option. Oh, well, I didn't know that. I'll have to check that out. It's called print on demand, right? So you don't have to invest in anything. And not only do they have shirts and sweatshirts, they have like shorts and they have like towels and they have all kinds of cool stuff, socks. You know, they have all kinds of things that you can create. So merchandise is a place to start, right? Merchandise, your music, of course, you need to be able to sell it other than on iTunes, because iTunes takes a large chunk of that, right? If someone's spending $10 and someone's paying, you know, and iTunes takes 40%, 30%, I forget their percentage, you've just lost a huge chunk of your money, right? And that's why putting it on a website, you know, Bandzoogle is really good. And I'll put it right here, look, Bandzoogle. Websites for musicians, I'm putting this in here, okay? That's a big one, right? Merchandise, you can get it. Bandzoogle's really good. I was on Wix for a little while. I've done WordPress. I learned HTML back in the day. I used to do coding. So I used to do everything from scratch. Bandzoogle is really great. It's just an easy way. They have membership platforms and all kinds of stuff. So let me see. I'm seeing if you guys have any other questions here. Bookmarked, okay, great. Stephanie says you just started using Printful. Awesome. Phone cases, masks. So you can make all of these things with your logo on it or your photo on it, you know, all that sort of thing. So I highly recommend that, right? There's a place to start, right? And you put that in your store and you can put that on your website. Okay. And then also, let me see here one. Square, you know, I've never used Squarespace, so I don't know. I don't really have an opinion on it. I like Bandzoogle because it's designed for musicians, nobody else. So all of their features are designed for musicians. So I like that. I don't have to look at a template and be like, what would that look like if it was music related? Everything that they have is music related. So other people are using some other things. I don't know too much about Teespring or Vistaprint. I just know that I like Printful. So I haven't used them all. I would recommend everyone checking out a few of those and see what works for you. Printful works for me because I ordered samples. The quality is good. You know, they can ship out anywhere around the world. Bandzoogle a month, I don't remember. It's not more than $20 though. It's less than $20 a month. So it's very inexpensive. Sakura says about $16. So yeah, it's not expensive at all. So something like that, right? That's a place to start. Now you have, if you have a fan that says, hey, you know, oh my God, I'm such a fan. How can I support? Don't send them to your Spotify where you're going to make a quarter of a penny. Now you're going to send them to your store, right? Because they can buy your album from there. And that costs $10 or $20. And you keep all of that money because you can post that on your Bandzoogle, right? You can post that in your store. They might buy a t-shirt and now you're going to make another 10, $20, you know? So maybe you'll make $40. Maybe they'll even buy a mask or something. Maybe now you've made $50 off that person, you know, and they got a cool t-shirt and they got something that they get to take home and they're excited and they get to see your name and your logo every time, you know, they're at home and listening to your music instead of you sending them to Spotify where you made a quarter of a penny. So is that making sense so far? Are we getting like the whole concept of why? And I'm going to get into a lot of other forms of income, but this is just where we're starting. Does this make sense as we're talking about how to make money and not sending them to a streaming platform? Okay, Phantom says definitely. Ross says yes, makes sense. Ford, how did they get the album if they buy it from our store? So it depends. If it's a digital download and you've uploaded it into your store in Bandzoogle, they're able to download it right then and there immediately. Bandzoogle has created that for them. Now, if you're sending them an album, you're going to get an email, and the email says, you know, Bob Smith just ordered an album. Here's his address. Send it to him, you know, and so now it's your responsibility to send it to him. So let's see. DistroKid and Bandzoogle are completely different. So Connor, you said DistroKid and Bandzoogle can work hand in hand. DistroKid is not even the same thing as Bandzoogle. DistroKid is how you get your music on like iTunes and that sort of thing. Bandzoogle doesn't do that. Bandzoogle is a website platform where you create your website and you can actually make way more money than on a streaming platform like DistroKid. So those are very different. Okay, so don't just get one. You need to get like DistroKid. I use TuneCore. You can use CD Baby. All of those fall under the same things. So if you guys haven't gotten your music yet up, you can use DistroKid. I use TuneCore, or I'll write this down. DistroKid, TuneCore, or CD Baby are all good ones for getting your music on streaming platforms. Let me write this down. So you definitely need it in streaming platforms, but that's where you're gonna make the least amount of money. And unfortunately, that's where most musicians stop. They stop at the streaming platforms, and then they have nothing else, and then they wonder why they're not making any money, right? I'm gonna put this in here. All right, cool. Agent said he just joined today. Awesome. And then right now, Bandzoogle, I think I sent out an email a while back that they do like the first 30-day free trial, which is cool. So you don't even have to pay anything for the first 30 days. So you can try it out. You can see if you like it. Same thing with Printful. You know, as you make your t-shirts and everything, you don't have to pay anything. You can create it and it's there and it's awesome. And then whenever someone orders, Printful keeps a percentage and you make your money too. So let me see if there's anything. Arnaud says Lander. I've heard of Lander. I've never used it. Ross says, would you recommend putting our music on streaming websites, or should we put them on our own music website? I've seen artists that aren't streaming on platforms. They sell their music directly on their own websites. So it depends, right? It depends on what you're planning on doing. Have you built your email list? Because if you have a huge email list of like 100,000 people, then you don't need to be on streaming platforms. You can just send them to buy your music directly from you, right? But do any of you have an email list like that? Probably not, right? That's a big email list, right? So unless you're already selling stuff to your group, it does help for you to be on streaming platforms just so people can find you. But don't expect that you're going to make a lot of money off that, because you're not. Right? You're not. I posted something the other day. I was like, look, I forgot what it was. It was like, I have had 300,000 plays and look at what my check was. And my check was like, I don't know, $400 or something, right? 300,000 people listened. And I got a little tiny baby check for like, I don't know, it was like 386 or something, you know, and that's from streaming platforms. I can't live off of that. No one can live off of that, right? Which is why we need these other forms of income. So this is, so even that, Tom, even if you're playlisted, it still doesn't matter. It still costs so much money to produce the record, to get it out there, to mix and master the record. Even if you're, again, a fraction of a penny per play, it's still, you're putting so much time and effort. Don't think your majority of your income is going to come from streaming platforms. Okay, so one thing that we can do is, right, selling our music directly from our website. So if we can give fans the opportunity to buy directly from us, because now we're making $10 for an album, or we're making, you know, $1 or $2 per download, as opposed to a fraction of a penny. Okay, so that's a huge, huge, huge difference. We just need one fan instead of like 40,000 people to listen to our song to make the exact amount of money, which is crazy, right? Like you need, like, I did a chart once. I need to find the chart, because I was like, you have to get like 150,000 streams for you to make as much as booking 1 gig or getting one fan to buy a t-shirt and a CD, right? And it's way easier to get one fan to buy a t-shirt and album than to get like 300,000 people to listen. And that's where we want to start really thinking more along those lines, right? Let me see here. Let's see. Ross says, what do you suggest to build our email list? I use ActiveCampaign. MailChimp doesn't have as good delivery. I'm going to write that in here. But again, you need to have a strategy. If you're building your email list, then what? Then once you get their emails, then always ask yourself, then what? I'm going to build my email list. Then what? Do I send them to my Spotify? No. Now we're going to send them to our website where we're selling our music and our merchandise. We're going to tell them stories about how we just shot our music video. We're not going to spam the heck out of them. We're going to hit them up with, hey, I have free music for you today, right? We want to do I always tell them, give, and then sell. Give them something, give them a free song, and then give them on the next email, give them a cool story about maybe some behind the scenes footage that they can only see because they're on your email list. And then the third email, then you sell them something. Then you say, hey, I just released my album, or hey, I now have a crowdfunding campaign or whatnot. So yes, give, sell. Keep that in your mind. Give, sell. You don't want to spam people. You don't want to be like, buy this, buy this, buy this, listen to this, stream this. We don't want that, right? So let me see here. Max Post says several influencers are saying lots of money can be made from minimal streams. I don't know why they're saying that. That's very easily, you can Google this, and YouTube, Spotify, everyone pays you fractions of pennies. So it's if you think a fraction of a penny is a lot, then if they think a fraction of a penny is a lot, well then, I mean, good for them, but it's not. You can't sustain off of that. So the next thing that we want to think about is okay, we've covered streaming, right? Which is the first and worst way to make money. But it's still good that we're discoverable, and it's still cool if people are listening to our music. But now what? Right now we talked about selling your music on your website. You need to have that, have a link where you can send people to hey, go to such and such.com, so when fans ask you how to support, or if you're posting a music video, you can put, hey guys, and I just made a t-shirt available at christinemorel.com. You can check it out here. I also have, bandanas and masks and, whatever it is available. Okay. Merchandise. Then we have Patreon and fan clubs, which we've talked about. If you guys are committed and think about even how I have my business, how you guys are here, right? This is one aspect of my music business, because I used to just do music, and now I help other students, right? And other musicians I share some of the things that I've learned. I'm very consistent. I show up every Friday and I do webinars. Mondays, I always do these webinars with you, right? And it keeps people wanting to join and keeps wanting people to come in. So many people are focused on one song. I just need to get one song. I just need to do one song, and then I'm going to blow up and it's going to be huge. But I think in the last few webinars, I've talked about how important consistency is, to release good content, but don't focus too much on whether it being perfect, because the thing is, they're going to keep coming back. And Russ is a big example of that. We've talked about, he released a song every single week. And he started out with literally like 100 listeners or 50 listeners when he started. Within less than 2 years, he was up. I mean, he got his first Billboard record. He makes like $10 million a year now, but he was very, very consistent. He was releasing music, right? Now, for you, what you think about that consistency can mean a lot of things. It doesn't mean releasing music, because maybe you're not even recording. That's okay. You could still make 6 figures a year. I have friends that do this all the time, right? So what they do is they do different things, right? There's ways that you can do that with Patreon and fan clubs, right? Patreon can take up to like 15% of your income, and I don't like that. Bandzoogle, if you sign up for Bandzoogle, they have the exact same thing. You can set up a fan club, and they take 0% of what you make off that fan club. And basically what that fan club is people pay you a set amount of money a month to have access to you. So what you're going to think of, you start thinking, okay, maybe I want to make a membership platform where people pay $5 a month, and you can have tiers. Like you can have a $1 a month one, a $5 a month one, a $10 a month one. And what I'm going to give them is, maybe I'm going to release a song every month, right? So that's consistency. That's something you're committing to. Maybe I'm going to do a live stream once a month that only they get to come to, right? You got to think of a product. Not just, again, we're going back to, we don't want to send them to our Spotify. So if we're not going to send them to our Spotify, how do we make something really cool that they're going to love, that they're going to want to pay for? And that's what we want to think about. So in our fan club, what could we give them? We could give them, a free Q&A section, a session. So maybe once a month we get to do a live stream show. Once a month we do a Q&A, and they get one of my songs every month. And I'll show you guys what that looks like. Let me open a tab here. So I can show you some examples of some of what the other people have done and where you can kind of do some give me 1 second, let me find it. Opening it right now. 1 second, guys. Okay, let me share my screen. All right, can you guys see my screen? Wait, actually, I think it's not showing it. Hold on 1 second. Share screen, Amanda Palmer. Okay, can you guys see Amanda Palmer there? I think that's a good one. Yeah, can you guys give me a thumbs up? So here's hers. Now she's very advanced. She's been around for a long time. You can have 1 tier, you can have 2 tiers, you can just have 3 tiers like this, right? Look at hers. Here she has one for $1. So, and this, you know, these are, you can say it's $1 per month, $1 per thing that you release. I recommend a monthly, which is cool. Look, and she put right here, you're going to get access to my posts. You get access to tickets and invites, and you're also going to get downloads of some of my larger main products, you know, that sort of thing. Okay. Here you get, you know, they're going to pay $3 per download, right? So every time she releases a song, and you can choose this in Patreon, right? And sorry if this is a little confusing. You can choose to do it by the month, or like in here, she's charging people every time she puts anything out. So she's saying, are you going to dedicate $1 to everything I put out? So every time she puts out a song, there's people that are willing to give her $1, right? Every time she puts out a song, there's people that are willing to give her $3 and $5. And see how she made these like tiers. And so you get the thing that she put out, so whether it be a music video or whatever it is, and then you get all this other stuff too. Now she has all these other levels, right? She has up to like $250, right? So here's an example, and you guys just go on Patreon and you'll start seeing what they have. What can you give? Can you give a weekly live stream or a monthly live stream? Or maybe you give 1 postcard a month, like a new postcard that nobody else gets, right? Can we get, because you can order those from Printful, have them ship it, right? What can you do? There's another Patreon, this is Pentatonics. They have a bunch of different things as well, right? And this is $1 per month. So they did per month. Amanda did per thing, right? Amanda Palmer makes more than $1 million a year, guys, just off of Patreon. She's not even famous. She's not even famous, and she's been doing this. She's just really exceptionally good at creating a culture around her fans. And this is only like, I think, let me see how many people she has. She has 13,000 people. That's it. She has 13,000 fans. When people tell you that you need millions of fans to make $1 million, you do not. She has 13,000. And with those 13,000 true fans, because some of them are willing to pay $250, right? So we don't the opportunity that you're missing by sending people to your Spotify, instead of saying like building a relationship with them and then potentially putting them in something like this, a membership where they're going to be excited. They want to join this, right? Super fans do. All you need is 13,000 of them. She's making more than $1 million a year. That's pretty insane, right? So start thinking about, what can you offer? Can you offer a t-shirt? Can you offer a live stream? Can you offer an album? Can you offer, you know, a discount on tickets? Can you offer, I saw one group that puts out a music video every month, right? And then I put that, I saw them put like a special package where if someone pays $5,000, they get to come to the music video shoot. These are all things that I'm going to tell you guys. My very first fan that ever spent more than $5,000 with me, I didn't even have a music video out. Like I wasn't famous. I didn't have, I mean, I'm not famous now. I didn't have anything like that. You know, it was unbelievable because I was like 19, 20 years old, something like that. And when I saw that a fan was willing to donate to my crowdfunding, donate to those things, just because I built a relationship with them, I emailed them, I responded to them, that sort of thing, I couldn't believe it. And you'll have that same type of success as long as you're making good music and as long as you give people attention, as long as you respond to people. That's why I always tell people like the quality of your relationships with people are so important. So let me see if there's any questions here. Heather says she couch surfed forever. I couch surfed too. Amanda's really awesome. Very, very good. I do recommend, if you guys want a good book to read her book, The Art of Asking. I'm going to just put this on here. I cry every single time I read it because I used to perform on the streets and stuff, and so did she. And it was just a hard life, man. It really was. But let me see here. Let's see if there's any questions here. All right, cool. Just want to make sure that you guys got it. Okay, cool. So membership platforms, that's another way to make money, right? So we've talked about streaming, we've talked about creating a website, we've talked about creating merchandise and creating a album on our website where people can buy directly from us. We've also talked about Patreon and fast and fan clubs. Ford said, who wrote that book? It's Amanda Palmer. Read it. Okay, I just put it in the chat. Very good book. I mean, just exceptional human being. I mean, when you listen to her journey, you'll understand how it's a slow build. It's a marathon. This is not a sprint. I know everyone, you watch like the Walk of Fame and like they're famous the next day, and that's possible. But like I tell everyone, it's also possible to win the lottery. Do we just sit around buying lottery tickets waiting? We don't. We need to take action while we're also, hoping that maybe something big will happen in our lives, but there's more probability of success and possibility of success if we look at this more as like a marathon. Okay. So now we've talked about streaming, and then we've talked about selling music from our websites and merchandise. We've talked about Patreon and fan clubs, right? Where we can get, and this is probably the most sustainable form of income that you guys could make. If we have people dedicating $1, $5, $10 a month, that's sustainable income. You're not having to create new music, or you're not having to create a new album and then sell it and market it. Instead, you have people that are already dedicated fans. Take care of those fans. Don't focus too much on everybody else. Like here with you guys, I mean, even look at my business model, right? This is part of my business, being here for you guys. I check that Facebook group. I'm always creating, promos. I'm here for you guys every Monday. I'm here to take care of you guys because I know that you guys are here with me every Monday. So I want to make sure that I give you all that I can. I don't give this to everybody else. I don't jump on Zoom calls with anybody except for you guys and my one-on-one clients. That's it, right? Because I know to take care of you, not just the people that are coming to my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel, I just post a video and I don't care, right? It's different. It's like, I hope that they get success from it, but I can't give them my time. Instead, I give my time to the people who I know are dedicated and are also dedicated here in what we're trying to do, right? You're welcome, Arnaud and Jordan. Yeah, absolutely. So this is just, it's all these things I'm sharing with you guys. I also apply to my business, right? So next thing, right? We have crowdfunding campaigns, which I'm gonna be doing a special on that a little later this summer, but some special trainings on that, which is really cool because I used to do crowdfunding, right? That's a cool thing to do if you have an album coming up, but to do that, you also need to build your fan base. You need to build your email list. People don't just donate to a crowdfunding campaign, typically, unless they know you and know your music, which is why it's so important to create that relationship with your fans, right? Get them in your email list. But this is just this is our 5th form. And I'm going to go over 5, 6, 7, 8, like 8 forms of income right now, because we're already at 5. Your 5th form of income is crowdfunding. The thing is, it's not as sustainable as like a fan club, right? Because a fan club, I mean, you think about all these business models. You have like iTunes, which charges, I don't know how much a month, right? Apple Music, Spotify, Netflix, they all have monthly subscriptions. Why do you think some of the biggest companies have monthly subscriptions? Because it's the most profitable, right? Because they know that that income's coming in every month. Think about that as you for a musician, not having to, create a whole new album every 6 months. I mean, that's a lot, right? And then you don't even know if it's going to sell. But if you're doing things where you have fan club, people dedicated, that are paying $1, $5, $10 a month, that's a huge, huge way to create sustainable income, right? So crowdfunding, though, is a cool little jolt, right? As you build your email list, if you have a nice email list of a few thousand people that you think are, that you've built your relationships with, you have a nice kind of fan club, I guess. crowdfunding can work. Crowdfunding can also work if you're not afraid to hit up your friends and family and coworkers and that sort of thing as well. The best thing that you can possibly do, and I know that it gets tough to ask people, and that's why that book, The Art of Asking, is so good, because Amanda Palmer, she was the first artist to raise $1 million in crowdfunding. $1 million, right? Relatively unknown. Her big thing, and they asked her why she was able to do it, how she was able to do it, and she said it was because she wasn't afraid of asking. She asked her fans for help. When she went on tour, she asked if she could stay at her fans' houses. When she was on those tours, you know, instead of having to pay for food, she asked her fans if they would bring her food. Like, she was like, she just asked, she didn't care. And her fans were so happy to give that to her because she gave them the gift of her music and the gift of her presence. I think I've told you guys, I don't really care for her music, but I am such a fan of her. I like her. I like that she cares about her fans. I like that she cares about the people who follow her. Like, she's real genuine. Like, you don't get this like sense of like where she's trying to con anyone at all. And she just talks about how important it is to take care of them. And she was able to do $1 million. And now she does $1 million a year off of her fan clubs because she's taking care of those 13,000 fans that she has. That's unreal, guys. 13,000 people. And she makes $1 million. She makes as much as some of the biggest artists in the world, right? So crowdfunding is a good thing for you to try, especially if you're not afraid to, you know, hit up friends and family and people that know you, that you have relationships with, and your fans as well, to ask for help. But if all you want to do is set up a crowdfunding campaign and just post a link and maybe send out an email and think that it's going to like get all kinds of donations, it's not. It's something that you have to be willing to do. And this is just something that's part of like the journey, right? But it is still a great way. I've done it before. I did I had a single and we did a really poor job of recording it, but for whatever reason, everyone loved it. And because I knew everyone loved it, you know, and I had been I was producing so much music. I was putting out like 2 or 3 songs a month. And I was getting about 2,000 to 10,000 plays a day on my music. I mean, it was unreal because I was putting out so much content. I had so much time. I was single. I didn't have a child. You know, I was just focusing on my music. And I remember there was a song that I had called Let Go, and everybody loved it. And I didn't have the money to reproduce it, right? But it sounded really terrible. So I said, all right, guys, it's going to cost me like, I forgot what it was, like $3,500. Can you guys help? And I don't even know that crowdfunding existed. I just asked, right? I just put it out there. I made a little PayPal button. And, you know, within like 1 week, my fans had donated it. And I was able to get in the studio and create that song, which was really amazing. So don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to ask for help. You know what I mean? Like it's going to get you far. Just like I was going door to door selling my music. I asked if people wanted to buy my music. I asked if people wanted to join my mailing list. And the majority of people are going to tell you no, right? If you're, you know, if it's holding you back because you're like, I wonder if people are going to reject me. Here's the news. Tons of people are going to reject you, but now we can move on, right? Now we can move on. Now that we know people are going to reject us. All right, cool. We got that part figured out. So now let's go find the people that are going to accept us, right? And those are the people that join our email list and the people that follow us. And those are the people that we take care of. We don't go after the people that don't care about us, because we could have 0.1% of the world like our music and we'd be like billionaires, guys. Like, you don't need most people to like you. You just need to find the people that do. So crowdfunding is a big one. Okay, so those are all, we went over streaming, selling music from your websites, we went over merchandising, we went over Patreon and fan clubs, and we went over crowdfunding. Okay, I'm going to check the questions and see if you guys have questions so far. Let me see. That's so much. Muchas gracias. Periel says thank you. Thank you. Berko says thank you. Amara, yes, I will be reposting the replay. I always send it out on the email, so I will be sending it out. You're welcome, Summer. Thank you. Okay, awesome. So let's see here. He rocks. We see this tomorrow. Thank you. Awesome. I have fun with you guys. Tom says, do you have any general advice on setting up a Patreon account? If you have an email list, I don't even recommend setting up Patreon. I'd recommend going through Bandzoogle instead, because you don't have to pay a percentage of anything that you make. Just come up with some cool tiers. Come up with something that if you were a fan of someone, what would you want, right? Don't just say, hey, you get to talk to me once a month, right? If you give them so much that they have to say yes, right? I mean, think about, most of you guys are here because most of you bought my list of Go Viral, where it's like almost 5,000 music industry contacts. Like, we did thousands of hours of research, right? That was insane, an insane amount of research, and we're about to update it very soon. I made a book that has so many thousands and thousands of resources that it was almost impossible to say no if somebody wanted to promote their music, right? If somebody wants to promote their music, here's almost 5,000. It can take you hours just to find 20, right? Create something that they can't say no to. Give them something, because you're competing with the Beyoncés and and so to compete with them, give them a personalized experience. I'm going to give you a live stream once a month. I'm going to give you a free song download once a month. I'll give you a shout out on your birthday. I'm going to give you first access. Like, I do a lot of that. I do first access. Like, I have a new music video coming out next month. Everyone's going to be able to see it first 2 weeks before anybody else gets to see it, right? Nobody else gets to see it except for them, the people on my list. That's a big one, right? They get early access. You can give them discounts on merchandise, or maybe if they're like a $20 subscriber, they get a postcard, a signed autographed postcard, something that they get to have. Like, I've had so many people, like when I went on tour, I did an elementary school tour, which was cool. I love kids. And some of the girls are like in high school now, and they sent me pictures of like the bracelets that I handed out. It means a lot to them. They save it. Like, a lot of them had a little, like almost like a little shrine. They had a little bracelet, a little signed postcard that I gave them. And, even some of them had a napkin that I signed, and it's been years. It's been like 4 years. It means a lot to them. And it may seem silly to you, but to your super fans, it means the world, because they don't get that from a Taylor Swift. They don't get that from Drake. They're not going to get a signed napkin from Drake. Sure, they would love that, but he's not able to show up, and send that to them, whereas you guys can. So that gives them so much value that they can't say no. Give them something really, really cool. So that would be my biggest tip. Let me see here. Okay, cool. And Benever says you already have 66 more fans. Awesome. It's such a cool thing, right? And she's talking about what we went over on Friday, which, by the way, again, if you guys missed it, I'm going to be going over it again on this Friday as well. I'll be posting the invitation where I showed everyone how I get 3,000 followers a month from this really interesting strategy that doesn't cost anything, and there's no bots or anything like that involved. So, okay, so the next few things, let's go over a few other options. And I hope you guys, this is getting your brain kind of thinking, okay, like of all these different ways that you can monetize your music. The next thing is licensing and syncing, which I'm going to be bringing on a couple of friends who just do this. This is how they make all of their income. There's a lot of people that just make music, and a lot of you have this already, but if you haven't downloaded it already and you already have music recorded, there's a list of 1,798 record labels and publishing companies. Publishing companies are the companies that get your music on like movies and TV shows and commercials, right? All those types of things. Those can pay anywhere from hundreds to tens of thousands of dollars. They pay very high. This is how a lot of my friends make a lot of music, a lot of money, and they're not famous, and they have no hit songs, and they have no followers, and they don't do any shows, and they do nothing like that, okay? I've had a few of I actually had one of my songs, this is funny, get licensed on Playboy, at the Playboy Network. So yeah, I know. I had a song called Over and Over. It goes, I do it all over and over and over. And they used it when, whenever I see you laughing at me right now, they used it when there was a like Playmate of the Year or something, and she was leaving, and there was going to be a new Playmate of the Year, and they decided my song, I would do it all over and over and over again, was just appropriate, I guess. So that it was on Playboy, and I thought that was really cool. So you get paid for, and you get royalties usually. So you get Let me see this. Tom says I had 5 seconds of generic chords make me $2,000 last year from some cheesy ad. Exactly. Exactly. Like 5 little chords and you made $2,000. Like I recently, and I think I told this story, I was almost on this Ford commercial. It was between me and another artist, and the other artist got it, but it was going to pay $100,000, right? And it was just a song that I created. It's a song called For You. It's on YouTube. And the publishers called me up. They're like, it's between you and another artist. And I was just so excited because I was like, that's a sweet paycheck, right? But, you know, and so those pay really well. And it's not uncommon to get paid 5-10 grand for something like that. It's not. You just need a publishing company. You need to get your music to them, right? We need to send our music out there. This is a great way to make money. I know many people that treat it as a business. They wake up in the morning from 8 to 5, they create music. Now, how does this look for a lot of you if you're not a producer, right? The way I first got into it, because I co-produce, but let's say I didn't even produce, you could still get into it. Let's say you're a singer, you're a songwriter. What I would do is, I've shown you guys the ways that I reach out to producers, right? I can find out, I can send a DM to producers on Instagram. I can Google producers. You know, I've also done the thing where I've gone and I've showed you guys how I went to allmusic.com and I find all of the producer credits for all the big albums, right? I look up all of Beyonce's producers, all of, you know, Nicki Minaj's producers or whatever, and then I hit them all up on Instagram and I send them a video of me playing piano. Well, you as a singer or a rapper or a songwriter, you can find producers, send them clips of you writing or send them clips of your best music or songwriting material or whatever it is, and say, this is what I've created. I would love to write lyrics or write melodies over your music. So producers do that a lot. They send out their music. Even J.R. Rodham used to send me a ton of music. J.R. Rodham does all of, what is his name? Who's the guy? What you say? Jason Derulo, like that's all his people, right? So they would send me stuff. That was before I was anybody. It's not like I had anything going on. I had like one song that got some plays and stuff. They recognize how great it is when they have people that are willing to write over their music. So if you're a songwriter, whether that be a rapper or a singer, you can hit up producers and say, I'm a songwriter. Can you send me some beats? I'll send you some music. This is a great way to get in the door with this. All right. So yeah, Sakura says, you have direct access to a few of them here. I mean, there's a lot of producers here. You know, hey, you guys in the Facebook group, y'all should be doing this in the Facebook group. After we're done here, people want to collaborate, put that in the Facebook group, put producer here. I want songwriters, I want singers, right? And then you guys can start collaborating with each other. It's great because someone could be in Atlanta, someone can be in Florida, and y'all can be creating music with each other. And it doesn't have to be perfect, right? I used to create my song memos on my phone. I'd record my song memo and I'd send it to producers. I have a producer that I work with all the time in France, right? I've had a bunch of French singers sing my music that I've written, right? And I've been to France once, you know, and that was just for vacation. I never went for anything else. And so I am able to write that way. So that's a really great way for you to get into that world, right? And start collaborating with other people who need songwriters. And maybe some of you are already getting placements. Ford, you were saying you got a placement. So I don't know if you have a publishing company or what you do exactly, but this is great for songwriters to then work with producers, right? It's not uncommon. So like I say, everything's a numbers game. Hit up as many producers as you can. Producers, hit up as many songwriters as you can. You know, that it's, once you find some good collaborators, it's a really, really wonderful way to make money. And I've met some people who are not very good singers and not even very good producers, but because they're dedicated to this and they make it consistent, right? Consistent, as we talk about consistency, they make up so much music. They have a huge library. So now they have hundreds of chances of getting their music published and placed on commercials and TV and movies instead of working on one song, right? Too many people focus on one song. We want good content, but we want a lot of it. We want to put out as much as we possibly can. So yeah, we have a few different people. Alex, is your music that you publish going to be used for movies and commercials? No, I don't do that. I don't actually do the placing of that. So there's two different things. So published can mean two different things. Published could mean that you got published on like articles, right? So like your music and your interview got published. And then there's publishing companies who get your music published on like movies. That's different. That's syncing and licensing. And I know it's like they use the same word, but they mean two completely different things. So one means it's getting synced, and syncing means like a company like Ford decided to use your music on a TV commercial, which is awesome, right? That's where you start making like really good money, and you can make thousands of dollars. Like just like Ford said, played a few little clip. I mean, I've done some stuff where like I sang a song on a commercial, a Heineken commercial. I sang, this is what I sang. Where are all the guys? You know how much money I made from that? $12,000. They wrote me a check for $12,000. That's all that I did. Where are all the guys? Like, that's it. Those few little lines, but it's because I was out there. I was promoting. I was putting my music out there. Like I was doing. And so whenever they needed someone, they hit me up and said, hey, can you audition for this part? And I sent in my music, and then they chose me. It was very cool, right? The more consistent you are, the more that you're out there, the more that you'll get the opportunities, right? Those opportunities will come to you because you're putting yourself out there, right? It's never about being the best. I always tell everyone there's plenty of people that can sing better than me and play better than me. There's probably plenty of people that know way more than me about the music business, but I'm out here all the time. So people know about what I'm doing because of that. It's the same thing for you guys. Do that for you. It's not about, it's like 10% talent and it's 90% everything else. It's the hustle. It's all the hustle, right? So let me see if you guys have any questions about that. Chris B says, how do you get placements? You reach out to publishing companies is a big one, right? And there's that list in your membership. There's a lot of publishing companies in there that you can reach out to, right? Apart from that, you can reach out to other people who already get published, right? So, excuse me. If you guys ever like look up some, commercials or you look up producers, I've always told everybody you can find a lot of producers on soundbetter.com, or you can put ads up on Craigslist, Facebook, all that kind of stuff. Ask. Don't be afraid to ask. If you want to start songwriting for commercials, put it on your Facebook. Hey guys, I'm looking for producers to collaborate with. I would love to create music for licensing and syncing. Anybody down? You're going to be very surprised with the type of responses that you'll get. Put that on Craigslist, put it everywhere. Look on SoundBetter, reach out to as much people as you possibly can, because that's what I've done. I'll reach out to thousands. I mean, I am not afraid to reach out to thousands of people, because if you just find one or two, like your life can completely change, right? If you make the right connection. Let's see here. Yeah, Tom Donald says Netflix needs so much music. They don't want to spend millions licensing a Sting song. Yes, exactly. It's going to cost them a lot of money to get a Chris Brown song or a whoever song, Journey song. Oh my God, pay a fortune for that if you wanted to play that on a Netflix song. They would much rather pay an independent musician, because they know to an independent musician, $5,000 is going to be a ton of money, right? That's going to be a sweet day. But you try to offer that to Journey and they're going to be like, no, right? So that's why they know that they can get, they don't want to spend a ton of money, and it works out for both of you guys. You're getting a sweet paycheck, and they're not having to pay that much that they would normally have to pay, right? So that's why this is, Phantomilla says, does everything need to be mastered for licensing? So this is a good question. Ultimately, yes, it does. When you submit your music though, I will say that even that song that, I had it like lightly mixed and mastered. I didn't quite have like the full, because you can spend a couple $1,000s to get something mixed and mastered, right? Perfectly. But I had spent maybe like $200 and got something like decently mixed. And then I had sent it out and submitted it. A lot of people do their own mixing. There's a lot of websites out there, and I should actually do a whole webinar on that do like light mastering that can actually like, and it sounds pretty darn good, where you can do it for really cheap, like $20, $30, So once, what I did was I submitted my music to the publishing companies where they sounded good. They weren't perfect. And then I just let them know, hey, this is lightly mixed and mastered. And so if someone wants to then sync it and actually put on a commercial, I can then get it like properly mixed and mastered, right? So that's possible, but make it sound good. right? It's your product. Do as much as you possibly can. But obviously we can't spend $1,000 to mix and master every one of our songs, right? We can't do that. So that's why it's good for you to collaborate with a producer who knows how to mix and master, right? So that if you're a songwriter or you're a musician, you bring your talents and gifts and abilities, and that producer brings their talents and gifts and abilities. So now you both are going to split it. So you're giving up a percentage, but now you're not having to pay money out of pocket to get it mixed and mastered, right? So that's why it's a really good collaboration. Said, got it. Okay, you understand. Yes, Chris, you do get placements with publishing companies. Well, they try anyway. Some of them just put you in a library, right? And then, you know, Ford or whoever comes around and they go through the libraries, and then they can just pick a song. And if they happen to like your song, they like your song. I have a friend who this is how she makes all of her income now. She used to be a performer with me. We used to actually perform together, and she's going to come on one of these webinars very soon just to talk about this specific thing, because it's pretty cool. Let's see. Let me see if there's anything. And yeah, Sakura, you're right. A lot of people. So another big thing is when you're making music for publishing, like you'll get hit up and they'll say, hey, we need a happy song about, you know, there's a commercial right now. So like, I'll give you an example. My publishing company, there's a few that I work with, they'll hit me up and go, hey, do you have any patriotic songs that talk about believing in yourself or overcoming something? You know what I mean? So sometimes I already have something. And sometimes a lot of people make music just for that, right? Sia is an amazing sync artist. All her music is about love and believe in yourself. And I'm going to hang from the chandelier. If you notice, her music is all over the place. It's on every Nike commercial. It's all over because her music is so uplifting, right? So she gets a lot from syncing. But you as an independent, if you're working with like a publishing company, a lot of times they'll hit you up and they'll go, hey, Nike is looking for a song specifically called, you know, talking about the swoosh, and they want it hip hop style. So then sometimes people go, okay, cool, let's make a song real quick. And you submit it, hoping, crossing your fingers that they'll take it, right? And I've done a few things like that too. And I told you guys that I did that when I reached out. Beyonce was working on her Lemonade album. And then they had hit us up and, you know, said, well, I had actually hit up her producers, and then they had hit me up and said, okay, she's placing songs on a new album. And then I went and worked on music specifically that we made for her style. And the next day got a call from her manager saying it almost made they were saying at the time, they were like, we think it's going to make it. And it didn't make it, but it was cool. It doesn't matter because you just keep shooting though, right? So it's almost, but you always get a win as long as you keep on going, right? I've gotten a few of those placements. I have a few things going on right now that I'm excited about, that probably made a few TV shows that I'm excited to share soon, right? So those are fun, and those are nice little paychecks every now and then. My whole point here is that I'm sharing with you guys that it's really good for you to diversify your income, for you to have different forms, because so many people only focus on streaming, which again is the worst way to make money, the absolute worst way. And that's what everybody's focusing on, because you have companies like Spotify making you feel like it's the most important thing, right? Spotify's done great with that. Spotify's made you feel like you have to get plays on Spotify. And if you're not, you know, on Spotify, then you're not worth nothing and nobody's going to like you and you're never going to have a music career and everything's about Spotify, when Spotify has no representation of how successful you are at all. In fact, it's the worst representation. Great job. You have a bunch of people that paid you a quarter of a penny. Like, that's not something to be excited about, right? When you talk about creating a sustainable music career. So why I am so passionate about this is because I grew up feeling like I wasn't accomplishing anything because I wasn't doing all the things that everybody said I was supposed to do. I wasn't famous. I wasn't like filling up huge arenas, right? I wasn't doing all of these things, right? I didn't have millions and millions and millions of plays on everything. But then when I started thinking about it, I started going, okay, what's the ultimate goal though? The ultimate goal is to make money. So I started thinking, okay, well, how do I make money? If we ask ourselves that question, Spotify goes out the door, right? Those are vanity metrics. That's what they call them, vanity metrics. What, we want 1 million, we want, or even if we worked so hard to get 100,000 plays at a quarter of a penny, we still can't live off of that. We can't. It's going to be like $250 a month or something. It's ridiculous, right? We're going to work so hard to make $250. We wouldn't work a regular job that hard to make $250. So why are we doing that with our music? It's because we think that maybe it's going to build our career and then maybe we're going to make so much money if we end up here. But what if we just get rid of Spotify and we just go to making money? Right? Isn't that just a much better plan? And that's why we have all these other options to do that. And that's possible because I've done it, right? I've shared with you guys that I've made 6 figures as an independent musician, relatively unknown, right? Most people don't know my music. Most people don't know I am. Yet I live a good life, right? I live a really, really good life. And that's why I'm like, I get all like worked up over this stuff because I'm like, don't let them make you feel like you're not doing great. Stop thinking about what they tell you and just start thinking about, okay, how do I create a sustainable income? Because licensing and syncing, there's plenty of producers, people making multiple 6 figures in that business, not having a single hit record, right? And that's huge. So that's, we've just covered 6. I have a couple more to go over with you guys. Live shows. Live shows is a big one, right? I've told everybody, like, especially if you're willing to do cover songs. If you guys are willing to do cover songs, you can start booking shows next week. You know, one of my students is named Troy. I used him, he was an example in the webinar, if you guys sat through the whole webinar. Troy, when I met him, was like just moved in with his grandma. His girlfriend had broken his guitar. He had lost his job as a bartender. He had nothing. And within just 4 weeks, I had a course called Gig Magic, which I'm going to put out again, but now that everything's opening up again, COVID. But, and he went through the course, and within 4 weeks, he was making $5,000 to $6,000 a month off of performing. Performing is a very fast way that you can start making money if you're willing to do cover songs. And that can be singing, that can be rapping. If you're rapping, I do recommend getting a singer, maybe creating like a trio where you have like a pianist, maybe you're playing with tracks behind you and you have a singer and a rapper. Like that can be fun, especially if you're playing in like bars and casinos and really fun, high energy stuff. If you're a singer, I recommend finding a musician like a pianist or a guitarist. You guys can put together a set, you know, and usually it's a few hours long. Okay. It's not like a 45-minute set. You're not Adele, right? You don't have a huge fan base, and that's okay. So all you got to do is do something different. Restaurants, bars, casinos, they put aside good budgets. They'll pay anywhere from I usually see anywhere from, on the low end, $150, whatever, to like $500 or $550, somewhere around there. That's pretty common. So you can easily make, like, if you're especially in your big city, like you're in New York, Atlanta, Chicago, you know, LA, Vegas, any of these big cities, you can make a really good living. And I'll do the math for you guys. If you just did 2 shows a month or 2 shows a week, right? Like a Friday, Saturday, right? All you need is 2 venues to like you. That's it. We need 1 venue to give you a show on Fridays and 1 venue to give you a show on Saturdays, right? So let's say you're part of a duo, right? You're a singer and then someone else is a musician. Or let's say you're a rapper and it's you and a singer and a guitarist, right? And you have tracks playing. I do recommend that. It helps, right? If you can't get a whole band, right? You have tracks playing. I've done that. It's been very, very successful. And let's say they're paying you $550 divided by 3 of you, right? That's $185 a night plus tips. So you're probably making like $225 times 2. So that's $450 a week. That's $23,000 a year. Just right there. All you need is 2 venues, right? That's it. And that's already $23,000. That's not counting private shows. Private shows pay thousands sometimes, or they'll pay you $500 each or whatever it is. You know, as a solo artist for me, because I play piano and sing, like I've done gigs where, you know, I got probably for private shows, I would do like 1,500, right? And that's for like birthday parties and stuff. Like that's not uncommon. You just have to build your show. Your show needs to be good. Practice, you know, and inside our member area, I have the how to get paid to perform for a living. I cover 8 steps of how to do it. I cover how to make your promo video. I cover how to do that. I cover exactly how I did it, right? How I work with agencies, how I booked it on my own, all of those things, and how I broke 6 figures just performing. That's just on the performing level. Let's get rid of everything else. Just performing alone brought in 6 figures for me. Performing other people's music. This is why I say there's so many opportunities here where, like, my passion is in songwriting and production, but there's so many ways. I mean, imagine if you just, okay, I should make $23,000 a year off of performing, right? 2 shows. and let's say you had 50 fans, right? That also give you, let's say, $5 a month, right? That's another 250, right? So that's another $3,000. That's already $26,000, right? And let's say you do one crowdfunding campaign a year now, and you're making $5,000 off that. Now you're making $31,000, right? And let's say you get a few songs licensed, for a couple commercials that pay a few $1,000s each. Do you see how that all adds up? How if we do a few different things, we can start to actually create a career. And let's say, and I'll get into some other things right now, but these are just a few of the things that we've covered. But do you see how if you just take a little bit from each one, that we can quickly then see how it can add up for us to create a sustainable career? It's mind-blowing how you can actually do this. If you just have different services, have different things they can buy. If you have nothing that no one can buy, you can't make money, right? And I'm about to get into the last one, which is, there's a lot of things in this one, but I'm going to see if there's any questions here. Heather says, when you say consistency, what does that time frame mean to you? It just means if you're planning on producing music and creating music and releasing music, release it often. If you're going to do a live stream, do that live stream every week. If you plan on doing a Q&A session, do it every month. Like, have a date where you go, this is what I'm doing. I'm every Friday, just like I'm here with you guys. Every Monday, I do a Q&A session with you guys. And so you were willing to pay a monthly fee or a yearly fee to join because I had something to offer you, right? Something that was like so much value. Again, think about what value that you can give. So something like that. Alex says, that's what's up. That is a lot of bread. I'm work hard and put the work in so that I can be successful. Awesome, Alex. And I know you always apply everything. I love that. Jordan says, this is a dope group. So blessed. Sakura says, successful producers often do both sync and music. Yes, they do. Absolutely. They do both. Let's see. Leonard for mastering. See if there's any other questions here. Yes, so Phantomella, that's a good question. You said, do you have lyricless versions of all your tunes for licensing? Yes, when you create your music, what's really good is if you create different versions of it. So create your version with your lyrics on it, create it where it's just the music. You can even strip it down where it's just the guitar. If you have lots of different options, it gives you more opportunities to get your music synced and licensed. See here. Chris B says, what about when you have to pay to play? That's not sustainable. When you have to pay to play, it doesn't help you really. I mean, maybe you'll get some exposure, but that's not the same thing as getting paid to play, obviously. So I would recommend going through the How to Get Paid to Perform kit in the membership, because that'll explain it all more in depth, because that's a whole other thing, right? That's like a big in-depth thing that I recommend checking out. Because pay to play, yes, Heather, it sucks. It does. Let's see. Sorry, guys, I'm just looking really briefly because I see there's a lot of messages here. Sabrina says you recorded your promo video last week. Awesome. Offer, great sound setup. Okay, perfect. And Adam says it's your first time here. Oh, you just got in, Adam. Oh man, okay. Well, you missed it. We've been in here for a little while now, but I'm going to send out the replay. I'm getting into the different forms of income. So, and Tom says this is your first session. Great. So, we're going to get into the last one now. And this encompasses a lot of things, okay? And this is where you can really think outside of the box, okay? These are your other services that you can provide. Are you a good singer? Okay, if that's just you, there's a million things you can do. Okay, when I first started recording, I used to go into studios, right? And there'd be producers there that worked with lots of other artists. and I would go in and I would sing. And then maybe after me, there would be like a rapper that would come in or something. Well, I started then offering to them, hey, do you need a singer on any of your songs? I'll do it, $200, right? Here's some of my music, here's some of my stuff. What else can you offer in the terms of services? I can sing on other albums. I can songwrite for other artists. I can ghostwrite for other people. I can do vocal lessons. I can teach voice, right? I used to teach piano. I used to be a piano teacher. Are you an instrumentalist, right? Can you teach someone how to play an instrument? Can you teach someone how to mix and master? Or can you offer that as a service to mix and master? I got producers in here that produce for other people, right? Can I offer to teach someone how to produce? There's a lot of big gurus online that teach people how to produce. They have products, books, courses based on all of this, right? You know, private shows, those are really big ones, you know, and then I've told everyone the story, and I'll tell it again, just in case you guys haven't heard it. I eventually bought my own equipment, right? I bought my own sound system, my own mixing board. And then I made friends with other musicians who didn't have those things. And I offered it to them. Hey, you can rent out my system for $250, right? Usually they would rent it out maybe once or twice a month. That's an extra $250 to $500 that I normally wouldn't have had, right? That can, if it's $500, that can be an extra $6,000 a year. It's a pretty nice pay raise, right? If your boss came to you and said, I'm going to pay you an extra $6,000 a year, you'd be pretty excited about that, right? That's not bad. So to have that as extra income, right? Think about everything that you're doing. What else can I offer, right? For me, the big thing for me was when I, you know, I was performing a ton. I told you guys that I've done like 6-7 shows a week. You know, I used to do a ton, 300 to 400 shows a year, right? And then I got pregnant. I have my son now. You know, that's not something that I can even do anymore, right? So for me, I thought, how do I teach others how to do what I do? And that's a big thing too, teaching, right? So many people, some of you guys have so many skills. Big one. You can be teaching piano lessons. You can be teaching voice lessons. You can be teaching people how to write lyrics. You're teaching people how to mix and master, teaching people how to produce, how to engineer. I teach people the business of music, but I do plan on releasing a piano course, right? Teaching people how to play piano. These are all things that you can think about. This is another form of income, right? If you have 2 students, just 2 students paying you $50 an hour, maybe they meet with you once a week. It's $100 a week, right? That's $400 a month. It's going to be more than $5,000 a year just off of 2 students. That's another pay raise, right? 2 students that you got that you're teaching something to. There'd be songwriting, producing, mixing, engineering. And it doesn't have to be in person. It could be online. And you know what you can do? On your website, you can create a place for that. You can create a place where they can buy lessons from you. There's also sites where you can sign up. You know, I've told you guys about SoundBetter, and I'll put that in here again. Soundbetter.com is where you can list yourself, and I'll show you guys again just so we can see this, for a lot of the services that you do. Hold on one second. Share. You can list yourself as a singer available to record, right? I get hit up all the time by people. Hey, I have a record. I'll pay you this much money to just sing the hook, right? Can you just sing it? Producers, you can list, look, all these categories. Female singers, beat makers, you can put yourself up there so people can hire you. Session musicians, right? Session musicians, I've done some session work where I just show up and play piano. That the Beyonce session that I had, I just showed up as a piano player. So I played the piano on the record. I didn't actually write or sing. I was just playing piano. Use all of your skills, right? You see here, there's banjo players, bagpipe players, acoustic guitarists, right? You can list yourself on here. Always keep that frame of mind as well. If you're walking into a recording studio, don't be afraid to let people know, hey guys, you know, there was a big thing for me. I didn't have any money, so I had to learn how to graphic design. I learned how to design my own albums. Well, guess what? After I learned how to do that, I would then offer it to people, right? A rapper would hire me to sing on his album, and then he would hire me again to design his album. each customer, I could make way more off that, right? That one customer, like I've always said, take care of the people that you have. Don't always focus too much on getting on new ones, because, and yes, make the opportunity and keep your mind open to getting new ones. But if you take care of the people that you already have, they already trust you, right? So if I've already sung on someone's record, and then I go, by the way, I also do album design. Well, they already know me and they already trust me. Okay, cool. How much? 300 bucks. Now I've made 300 bucks plus I've charged them 200 to sing on their album. I've made $500 off this one person, right? Instead of focusing on getting whatever 250,000 people to stream my music on Spotify. And I've made the same amount of money just focusing on one person. So you see how that's can be really, really beneficial. And so like you look at all of this, like sound editing, French horns, flutists, film composers, game audio design. I mean, there's just like all percussionists, remixers, session DJs, like anything. You guys play violin, or if you do vocal tuning, vocal comping, like all these are separate. You know, YouTube cover recording. This is a big one. I have a friend who literally, he has a studio, he records and he does video. He literally just hits up artists and says, do you want to create a cover song? I can record it and I can shoot a music video for you. I got a lot of producers in this room. That's a great skill to have. You can just hit up people and say, hey, I'll charge X amount of money to do YouTube covers with you. And then if y'all want to go the extra mile and learn how to do video, I learned how to do video. I bought all the equipment. I bought Canons and I bought lenses and I bought lighting and I bought drones. I bought all that stuff. I just kept on investing in myself because I knew I was going to keep shooting music videos and I wanted to keep putting them out, but it was going to cost too much money to do it. Right. So I decided I would learn. And then guess what? I put out a music video to this song. I'll show you guys really quick. It ended up getting, I think it's had like 600,000 plays on Spotify, which I probably got paid like $500 for that or something, like nothing. But let me see, what is it called? I think that's what it's called. Yeah, here it is. I shot this music video. It didn't cost me hardly anything because I already owned the equipment. I'm gonna turn this down. And somebody liked it. They had walked into the studio where I was recording, right? Why did this ad come on? That's so annoying. And my music video was playing. Oops, I think I clicked on something else. Okay, there it is. So I shot this music video with my own camera and edited it, learned how to edit it and learned how to do all of that stuff, right? So I did this, and then I was leaving a studio and my music video was playing because I'm always promoting myself. I was always like in that state, right? This girl that was walking in, who I didn't even know, saw the music video and she goes, wow, who shot that? And I was like, well, me and my friend shot it. I edited it and everything. She ended up paying us almost $5,000 to shoot her music video. If you're in a constant frame of mind of promoting and how you use all of your skills to make money, this is how you create a sustainable career, right? That was a nice little paycheck for me when I had only learned those things so that I could do my own music. But then in the time being, when I met other artists, they needed my skill set because they needed to shoot their own music videos, right? They needed to, were you guys able to see that, by the way? Yes, okay, cool. So they were, they were able to, I was able to then utilize my services and then make more money, right? These are all those things. So you think about those things. What else can you do? Can you do vocal coaching? Can you sing or rap on people's songs? Can you songwrite? Can you produce? Can you mix and master? Can you teach an instrument? Can you rent out your equipment? And then there's non-related stuff. I ended up doing graphic design and all kinds of other stuff, right? Because I was designing my own albums and ended up designing other people's albums and singing on other people's records, constantly be in that frame and not being afraid to ask if people need your services, because people do. If you guys have developed the skill, people need those skills. That was how I survived, constantly in that frame of mind. Adam says that music video is fire. Thank you. Thanks. Let me see. Ross said, yes, it was beautiful. Thank you. All right, perfect. So we covered a lot. We covered a lot of different forms of income. We covered streaming, which we now know really isn't a reliable way to make money, right? But we created what? We need to create a website at minimum with the store where we can sell our music directly to our fans. We can also set up merchandise. It doesn't cost us anything, so why not have it there? Patreon and fan clubs. We start thinking about how do we give them something that they're going to want to pay for, right? Are we giving them weekly live streams? Are we giving them weekly downloads? Are we giving them early access to music videos so that we can get them to dedicate a monthly fee to pay us $5 a month to join our fan club? We got into crowdfunding, and crowdfunding you can use for just about anything, right? And once you have your email list, the great thing about your email list is you can generate a lot of money very fast on crowdfunding. Okay, so there's crowdfunding. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we covered licensing and syncing. We covered live shows, which and those licensing and syncing, we have that list inside of our membership of publishing companies. And when you reach out to publishing companies, you usually send maybe 3 songs. You can create an EPK just for publishing companies. Okay, we have maybe 3 or 4 songs that you send them. Don't send them a million links. Send them like 3 or 4 songs with different types of music. So you can send that to them. We covered live shows. I also have a whole mini course inside of our membership on how I've booked literally, I think the most I ever did was 400 shows in a year. Traveled every single continent except for Antarctica. It's taken me all over the world. If you're looking for cool experiences, if you're willing to do live shows, you know, and do cover songs, it's really fun. It made me, I used to be so scared to be on stage. When you're doing hundreds of shows a year, you don't even think about it anymore. And it's a really wonderful feeling to finally get over that, right? Live shows. And we've gone over like teaching, how you can teach other artists. And we've gone over all the other services, right? Where you can think outside of the box. Like you can do anything, right? And that's songwriting, producing for other artists, live streaming, right? And I'm gonna get into some live streaming stuff because I've done some things where live streaming, I can gather people's emails, or you can gather tips. You can take tips on the live streaming. I have a friend who, that's how they survived COVID. They did like 4 live streams a week, and they did anywhere from $200 to $400, her and her boyfriend, a live stream, right? You do that 5 nights a week, 4 nights a week, that's $1,600 a week, right? That's what, 60 something thousand dollars a year, something like that. So they were able to still generate income from their home, right? Live streaming, teaching an instrument, opening a recording studio, lending out your equipment, that sort of thing, right? So Ross says, how do you set up live streams? That's a whole other, I'll cover that on another one, right? That's a whole other like webinar thing. But these are all things to think about. Write down any of these things that you liked, any of these things that spoke to you. Write down maybe 2 or 3, right? You don't need to don't overwhelm yourself. If you haven't set up your website, go to Bandzoogle. They have a 30-day membership, free trial. Go set it up, right? That's your first start, and set up your store. That's a good start. You know, I share all these, Friday I shared how to get fans on Instagram, right? Well, that's pointless if you don't have something to sell them. It's pointless if you don't have a service to give them, or you don't have an album, or you don't have any way for them to support your music. Now you're just building relationships, and that is valuable, but you need to be able to sell them something. You need to be able to somehow monetize and not just wait for you to get that paycheck from Spotify that's going to be like $8, right? It's not effective. So we covered all of those things today. I hope that was helpful because we covered a lot, but this hit me because I had a one-on-one client that was just, she hadn't created any content. And I'm like, how? We have to create something because you can't make any money, right? We can't just focus on trying to get you popular. You have to make money because you can't keep working your other job to sustain this. We don't want to do that. We want to be able to make money off of what we love, right? So I hope that all made sense to everybody. Does anyone have any questions about what we covered today? We covered like 8 or 9 different forms of income. Write down a couple, right? That website is a good place to start. If you haven't had it, those fan clubs are great. Crowdfunding, licensing, syncing. And as we go through all this stuff, as you guys let me know what interests you, I'll bring on other experts and speakers that just do this. Like I told you, I have one of my friends that's going to come on. All she does is licensing and syncing. That's where she makes almost like 95% of her income, right? She's going to know more about it than I do. I've gotten some songs placed, and that's cool. But that's her thing, right? I have producer friends that just produce artists. That's a big one, right? If you're a producer and you just want to produce artists, how do you do that? So let's see. You guys have any questions here? And the lab says, love the gems. Awesome. Tuning in next week. Heather says this was fantastic. Ross says, so helpful. Awesome. Post the website to create your own website. Sure, Adam. It is bandzoogle.com if no one's posted it yet. They have a 30-day trial, okay, that you can put, that you can set up. So you can start having that. Let me see if there's anything else here. Max, yes, I have that list. It's a red book. So Max asked if I have a list for industry contacts and publishing companies. Yes, publishing companies, go into your membership. There's a list. It's 1,798 record companies, record labels, A&Rs, lawyers, and publishing companies. There's a bunch there. You can also Google. You can also Google publishing companies. You can also go to Submit Hub. That's how I found one of my publishing companies, was Submit Hub. I've done a whole tutorial on it, Submit Hub. And that was a great one. That's actually how when I tell you guys the Ford one that I almost got, that was through submissions that I did on Submit Hub. So, and we can cover that. It's on my YouTube. Let's see. Oh yes, Rod, just DM me, okay? DM me about the yearly one, and then we'll get you taken care of. Oh no, because you were already signed up. It depends. If you had signed up on the previous webinar, it was only for new people that joined. But just DM me and we'll figure it out, okay? Let me see here. Jamie says yes. Jamie, it is possible. What is put your email in here, and then we'll contact you about it. Jamie was asking if I do one-on-ones. I do. They're just really, really limited. Because I don't have a lot of time because my little guy, he's about to turn 2. I went Easter hunting this weekend, which was not Easter hunting. God, that sounds like I was hunting rabbits or something, right? Easter egg hunting, not Easter hunting. That's so bad. I just went out killing rabbits with my son. It was great. Like, this is what I think about Easter. Take this. God, that's bad. My poor son. Be traumatizing. Easter egg hunting. That's what I did this weekend. So it's great. But yes, just put your email and I'll reach out to you. All right, let me see if there's any other questions here. Amara says you have a friend that's going to help you tackle the list, but it appears you can't share it. You can download it. You can download it and share it. So that's what I would recommend. So download it and send it to him. Let's see. How much is it for a music lawyer? It depends. Mine's really expensive. You can probably get one anywhere from $250 an hour to $450 an hour. My lawyer, when I first worked with him, I actually didn't pay him anything, but he loved my music. And instead, we had originally gone into a percentage agreement. So if he can get me a deal, he takes a X amount of percentage. So there's lawyers like that too. So you can either pay a lawyer by an hour, or you just make really great stuff and submit it to 1 million lawyers and hope that someone will also take you on like that, right? Where someone goes, hey, I really like your music. I can shop your music. And actually my lawyer has shopped. I had 3 offers last year. I had 3 offers from 3 different record labels, and I didn't take any of them because I didn't like the way that they were positioned, right? Which is a great place to be in. Because if I'm making my own money and I don't need a record label, that's great. I'm only going to take a deal if it's awesome. And they weren't awesome. So I got to say no to that. And that's the position that we all want to be in, is in artists. We don't want to have to take, shitty record deals. We don't want to do that. So that's the whole point in creating your career, because as you create your career, you can also ask for more. You have more negotiating power. Okay, let me see here. Sabrina says, how do you set up filming your promo video? Watch the tutorial. I should probably do one specifically on sound. You just need to be in a really quiet area. If it's just you and your instrument, it's a lot easier. If it's you in a band, that gets a little trickier. I would recommend actually working with a sound engineer if it's you in a larger band. Let's see. Sabrina says, what do I use for making a great online performance on Instagram? I haven't quite set up a one that I like. I've literally just been doing it with my cell phone, and people tune in. I had 700 people on my last one, and it was literally just from my cell phone. So I'm going to be doing like a special on how to set it up, but I quite haven't found equipment that I like yet to make it sound how I want it to. So I'll be doing something soon on that. Let's see. Happy birthday. Tom says you got a 14-month-old. Yep. Mine's like 19, 20 months now. Arnaud says he had your nieces same age as my son. They're so adorable. And they're monsters at the same time. They're crazy, but they're so cute. Let's see if there's anything here. There's Tom. Okay, there's your email. All right, Tom, I see it. Let me take a picture of this. All right, let's see. And Rich, you're interested in the one-on-one. Okay, I'll put that in. I'll put you guys in there. Perfect. All right, let me see if there's anything else here. Okay, yeah, Sabrina, I'll get more into that. I'll get more into the setup. All right, perfect. All right, those are all the questions there. All right, guys. If there's any last minute things that you want to ask really quick. Sabrina, you have one more, okay. What you got, girl? This one was a fun one. I love talking about, because this is the stuff that kind of gets your mind going like, okay, you know, how do I do this? Like this is, to me, it's just fun. I like making the packages. Like the fan club stuff is fun. I'm like, I could give them a postcard and a t-shirt and a live stream, and you know, it's fun. Heather says, thank you. Great Ross says, game on. Alexander says, thank you. Sabrina says, a media planner, the this or that questions, do you do it in the story or as a post? The this or that questions are good on Facebook. And then I can turn them, you know, on Facebook, how you can turn your posts into images. I'll do that on Facebook, and then I'll just take that image and I'll post it in Instagram as well. If it's something that you want to put on your story, great. If it's something that you want to put as a post, totally up to you. I've done both, right? If something I think is worthy of staying on my Instagram feed, then I'll post it. And if not, if I think it's just something that's really not that important, I'll put it on my story, right? Just to kind of come through. So Tatum says, if you have any questions, we're allowed to reach out on Instagram. Reach out on Facebook group. Okay, if you guys reach out to me on Instagram, I just want to remind you guys, it's my customer service rep. It's not usually me, right? There's someone else on there because we get hundreds of messages a day from other people. But because you guys are signed up here, we have more of an exclusive thing. Facebook group, go to our Facebook group. I answer all of those. I go in there, right? I'm in there personally. Whereas I don't have time to go into Instagram and respond to like the hundreds of people that come through there, right? Whereas we have our nice, like dedicated group, like we're the ones that are really focused on creating our music career. That's why I created Music Hustler, so I could really help people that are actually dedicated, right? So go to the Facebook group if you have questions. I'm always in there. At least every other day I go through and try to answer all the questions. So Asian, yes, if you already, did you already put your, let me see here. Let me open it really quick since I'm here. If you already requested to join, let me just see, because I know I accepted everybody a couple hours ago. Oh crap. I think I can get in. Hold on here. I think I changed my password and I forgot it. Let me see here. I don't think I can do it from here, but if you already, I can't remember my password now, but thank you, Sakura. So you posted the group. Yes, go ahead and request it. You need to put your email that you used when you signed in so that I can approve it. And then, because it's just exclusive for us. So just make sure to put your email that you used when you signed up, and then I'll approve it. So I know I approved everybody a couple hours ago that were still pending. So I go in there usually, like I said. I know, don't forget my password. I know I need to get in there. So, All right, everybody. Thank you so much. This one was really fun. I'm probably going to do like a whole like YouTube video on all this again, just because I think that this is such an important step that most artists don't really think about, right? As we're strategizing how to make money. A lot of us just focus on building our fan list, which is great. Build your fan base. And then what? Always ask yourself that question. And then what? Right? I'm working on this. And then what? I'm going to build my fan list. And then what? Always ask yourself that. That's what's so important, because we got to figure out what's the end goal. What's the end goal? Because we need to always focus on that end goal. All right, everybody. Thank you so much again for joining me. I'm going to be sending out the replay. And if you missed Friday's webinar, I'm going to be doing it again on Friday. Okay. How I got 30,000, or I got almost 40,000 in a year fans on Instagram, but I'm going to be showing you guys how you can do 3,000 a month without bots, right? 3,000 Instagram followers without bots, without, running ads, without posting every day, without hashtags and all that stuff. So join me this Friday. You'll get the invitation on Thursday to join. And I'll be posting about it. So, all right, everybody, have an amazing day. Hope you had a great Easter weekend, and I'll see you guys very soon. All right, bye.